hope you're all doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Right, so I wouldn't share too much, but I want to talk about how important it is when it comes to using artificial intelligence like in architecture, because when we talk about where architecture is headed right now, that is something that we need to take into consideration. In as much as there might be the argument that, oh, probably AI might take the job of an architect and all of that. I believe AI would only take the job of someone who is not willing to adapt and then learn and move with that change. So, no matter where you find yourself, please embrace it, okay? Because there are so many things that you can do with it, and then it's something that a skill set that you need that can help you with whatever you're going to do. I'll just talk briefly about some ways that AI helps when it comes to designing and all of that. So it really helps when you are trying to do generative design. You can have it bring up a lot of design alternatives, and you being the architect will be the one to put the order and then the structure in, because obviously AI is wild, so a lot of things that can come up when you are using AI, but then it actually helps you to conceptualize and then explore innovative solutions when it comes to that. Another thing that I can also use it for is when it comes to how efficient energy could be. If you want to analyze that, it would help you assess, and then if you want to really optimize the building designs, this is where you can use that to consider factors like insulation, materials, and natural lighting. AI really helps you to do that too as well. So do not think, oh, this is something new. If that is you are in the thought of thinking is something that you don't want to join in with, you need to move with that. It's a change that you need to embrace, because if you are not moving with it, this is where architecture is headed, and you have to welcome that change and move with it, or else you'll be left behind. And something that is already even in existence and we are quite familiar with is virtual reality and AR, augmented reality. So you can visualize whatever space you might be designing and all of that. That one is even quite popular already. Another side, which is the parametric design, which also allows you to quickly refine designs based on however the requirements might change too as well. So it's very important for us being architects to understand that anytime something comes up or anytime there are new things that are introduced, you don't want to see it as something that is going to strip you of the skills that you have, but see it as something that is going to upgrade whatever skills that you have. Because you need to just keep on adding on to yourself instead of just thinking you have to just sit back and then watch others do it. You also need to be in the mode of learning, because one thing about architecture is you need to keep on learning. It's always about learning every single time, and then being open to new things all the time, because the world is forever changing. Things are forever happening. Human beings also change, their interests change, their needs change. And if you want to stay on top of that, you need to make sure you're in tune with how things are changing and be up to date with trends that are happening. So it's very important to with that as well. Another thing that I want to talk about, which sadly I don't see with most architects, and it's not surprising because it's because the nature of this job is quite stressful and doesn't allow in some things. But then there's one thing: we are all humans, and we still need to understand the importance of social connection. If you feel there is a way that you want your work to be seen, and you want to connect with more people and put yourself out there, even put out your portfolio out there, you need to cultivate the habit of embracing social media. Now, this is one thing I personally am not doing yet, because I've gotten into the other side of social media where I'm experiencing more with others. But then this is a word for you, for someone that really wants to go in like the long route and then stick to this. If you want to connect with more people, want to be opening yourself up to more opportunities and all of that, use that. It's one tool that you can really take advantage of. You can use it to showcase your portfolio. You can use it to highlight completed projects, design concepts, your work evolution over time. And one thing that's very good that would help is if you're able to build a community of people that are like-minded like you, one, you'll be able to attract the clientele that you want to work with you. And I'm not really seeing it so much because right now in this day and age where social media is so big and then people are making loads of it, if you are able to take advantage of that and then use it to your benefit, you would be able to connect with so many people, collaborate with so many people, your peers in the industry, and then even get much more projects and partnerships that you are looking forward to connecting. And one thing about architecture is it's in as much as there are some things that you can do on field and then on site, there are also things that you can do remotely. And most of these remote opportunities come from outside. And people are paying loads for that too as well. So if this is something that you want to enter into, do not feel you always have to be on site or on field to be a part of it if that is not what you want to do. Know that there are so many things that you can do with regards to that, and you can have something that is also for you if you want to go along that line. Another thing that you can also do with regards to utilizing social media, you can be able to study trends because you're an architect. You want to stay on top of game with regards to how things are going and how even in the design world things are changing. This is how you be able to stay on top of game, by staying on top of trends, by being up to date with whatever is going on. You'll be able to explore trends because these platforms serve like a valuable resource for you as an architect to explore current design trends, materials, emerging technologies, and it helps you to stay informed and even inspired. Yes, that's the word, inspired in your creative process, because online you see so many other people that are sharing their work, even though they are not so many, like I'm saying, but then it's also your opportunity and it's also your chance to be a part of that, to share your work process. One major thing that really helps you attract like a clientele and even build a community of people that would want to work with you is by sharing your work process. It runs through everything. Personally, with what I have experienced with what I'm doing as a content creator so far, by sharing your work process, people just naturally want to work with you. So instead of sitting and waiting for some opportunity to drop on your lap, I would advise you to start taking like the initiative. So do not wait like I'm looking for maybe a firm or I'm looking for somewhere to work or something like that. Take your own initiative and start sharing your work process online. Take your own initiative. Just I know it's not easy to show up on camera, but then you can go the faceless way. There are so many faceless accounts that are blowing up. All right. And since this is a topic that is really of interest and is quite, I wouldn't say it's common, it's quite rare, and there aren't so many people doing it, you would find a community of your own that would be interested in doing that. So do not let being on camera scare you. And this is another way that you can go about it. Since this is quite stressful, I mean, this field of work is quite stressful, and you might not be able to show up on camera all the time, it's best to just set up something small whenever you are working so that it just captures whatever you are doing, and then you can later on share it. Working, putting together your portfolio, doing all of that, it also helps if you are able to connect with others and then open yourself up to more opportunities. Now, one thing that this also does is because you're going to be sharing your work, and if you are not scared to share your work and then share your process, putting your portfolio out there and all of that, and you are open to receiving feedback, you'd be able to connect with others that would help you also improve whatever you are doing, because that is when you would meet with others in different countries who also come from different design backgrounds and all of that, and helps you to stay informed as an architect, even refines what you already know. Now, there are different ways that you can do this. You can share behind the scenes of what you are doing. Nobody is telling you to stay on your phone 24/7 or stay on whatever platform that you're on 24/7. But in as much as you have your LinkedIn account and all of that, also keep in mind there are other like platforms that you can also take advantage of to expand your reach. That is the word. Build connections and open yourself to more opportunities. And this is what it would even let you hit these partnerships that you thought you might never be able to get, or some things that you are just dreaming of or just eyeing. Because one thing about social media is it will shock you. People are watching. No matter what you do, people are watching, and people are on the lookout for people that have what they need. So if you are likely that person that they need, they are going to reach out to you. So that is what I want to be sharing today briefly. Moving with AI, and then also keeping in mind to build yourself a personal brand, build like a community online too as well, and don't always hide. Share your work too, and take advantage of social media, because it's literally the future, and would open yourself up to much more opportunities and then more connections with that too as well. That is what I have for you this evening. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome, Miss Danielle. Please, any questions for Miss Danielle?
Yes, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Danielle, I would like you to share your story so that people would understand where you're coming from. I remember when you started building your Twitter account and you started taking the first pictures of Instagram. Now your Instagram has blown up, and maybe briefly on the kind of clients you are working with today, so that people can be encouraged to know that maybe they never thought somebody can work with GTP or something. You get it? But because of you putting yourself out there, you're able to get all these opportunities.
Okay, so if you want me to share my story, then I would like you to know that this would be the story of someone who is into architecture, but then also has a lot of interest aside it as well. So that would go for those that want to do other stuff alongside whatever they are doing in architecture, or probably might not even go with it in the long run. So this is for you guys. So one thing that you should keep in mind is, especially if you are doing this and you feel you have other interests too as well, you want to go into it. This is my story. I really had an interest in videography, photography, that kind of thing. So it was quite easy for me to start putting myself out there. The only challenge that I had was putting myself on camera. But funny enough, architecture school was what helped me overcome that, because having juries, crit days and all of that, you have to stand in front of people and defend your work. So I became used to talking in front of people and then sharing my thoughts. Slowly I was able to come up with content that I would put on social media, sort of started building a community of my own. I was sharing a variety of things, mainly along the lines of fashion, lifestyle in general. And if you're that person that feels like you are not ready to go, you are passionate about content creation, or you also want to go along that line too as well, I would say you should tap into that skill of where architecture allows you to really explore your creativity and then being able to share your voice. That is the thing, because whenever you design, you have to share your voice, you have to defend whatever you are designing, and then have some sort of thought process behind it, and you'd have to do it in front of people, liken it to that same thing, that same experience. So that was what I really did with that. Aside that too, it also gave me the skill of doing a lot of things at once, because when you are on social media, you have to sort of cater for your community, responding to comments, making sure you are on your stories, all of those things. I likened it to whatever I do in architecture too as well, because there are a lot of crazy things going on in architecture. You just need to plan your time and how you're able to see to different things and put it in the different tags. So I was able to see them as those different tags that they are and how I could meet them. Another thing that also helped me with regards to that was when I wanted to set goals as to how as to where I wanted my pay to be, and even with working with clients and even brands that I wouldn't have thought of working with, it was the same thing too as well. But one thing that kept me showing up was the fact that if it's something that I want and if it's something that I enjoy, I shouldn't be scared or let the fear of people seeing me doing things hold me back, because this is something that I'm in for the long term. Now, when I started this out, it was something that I was just doing for fun. But then I realized long term, this is a serious thing. It all comes to building a personal brand. And I sat down and I thought to myself, even though I'm not sharing so much like architecture content and all of that, and maybe even as much as that's something that I also enjoy doing, if I'm able to build a personal brand and I have plans of doing all of that, my community would still follow me or join that journey when I introduce that along the line. So the key is to not think about what you're going to get from people, okay, but focus on how you can serve them. That is one thing you need to keep in mind. Now, when I decided to start serving and then just putting out content, like helpful content that along the lines of things that I was interested in, that was when people started joining my community. And then when brands or other businesses see that, they know you have an engaged audience and people are really listening to whatever you say, and you're able to sell a product or you're able to sell services for them. It's the same thing with being an architect too as well. You want to be able to find your own voice, find out how you can be able to give back to the community. So I liken it to that too as well. Now, my main interests were along the lines of tech, aside fashion and all of that. So I even had like a second page that I created to share most of like the techie stuff that I have learned in content creation with regards to videography and even editing and all of that, leading me to work with companies like Microsoft, GTP, Airtel, Vodafone, a lot of others too as well. But it all started with just sharing things that I am interested in and trying to build a community of people, not thinking I'm going to get something. But one thing that was also important, which really helped me, was in as much as there are brands out there, one thing that I was able to do was to monetize the knowledge that I had when it comes to these things. That is what people forget. And I want you as an architect to keep that in mind, that you can monetize the knowledge. A lot of you know how to use crazy softwares and people don't know how to use them. In as much as there are YouTube channels and all of that, when you're able to build a community, your community will not care about a YouTube channel or some online platform that is sharing free courses or anything of the sort. Your community would want to know how you specifically do your things. So this is where, if you want to have like something on the side that is helping you, you can monetize the knowledge that you have. If you can turn whatever knowledge that you have, whenever you are working, you can set up your camera and then record some processes of whatever you do, some things that really help you do what you do, and package it into a digital product or an online course and sell it to other architects or people that are just interested in learning these things. Not that people that are not necessarily architects, but then they are interested in learning these kind of softwares and want to just be in the built environment space, want to learn about these things. So you can monetize your knowledge. So in as much as these brands are there, one thing that I mainly did was to monetize the knowledge that I had with regards to creating content in general, because it was fresh lockdown, and then a lot of people wanted to get into content creation because that was when it had hit and people were trying to put their businesses online because they wanted that extra visibility and reach for whatever they are doing. So one thing that I can do is to monetize the knowledge, and I'm not seeing it so much. I think it could be I'm assuming not everybody likes to maybe teach or that kind of thing, but you don't necessarily have to teach. This is one thing that you can create, and it would be creating passive income for you. You can literally be making sales of it in your sleep, because people would come for it even when you are not there, because it's something that you created once to help others to learn. But if that is not along your line and you feel you want to offer it as something, then you can just offer it as a free thing too. Aside that, you can offer different services. There are people that need help when they are trying to get into designing their own space, or they are not necessarily ready to hire an architect yet, but then they need like the advice of an architect or something of the sort. You can offer that as a service. It can be like a consultation service where people book like a one-on-one with you, or a short session with you, maybe 60 minutes or 45 minutes, for you to just share with them briefly what you think about the design, or some things that they should consider. And however you want to chat them, that will be on your own terms. I really want us to understand that there are so many opportunities that come with building like a brand online, and it doesn't even need to be with the brands that you're working with. It can be your personal brand, helping you to monetize whatever knowledge that you have, and then being able to offer your services to people. So you don't always need to sit down and wait for a project to land on your laps. Seeing how architecture is a field of work that is seasonal. So if you don't have a project, that means you are just there. No, you don't want to do that. You want to have these things on the side so that you are able to have something to fall back on in case of anything. Yeah. So that is briefly my story with regards to that. It was the main way of just showing up, not really caring what others might think, because that's the number one thing. If you care too much about what someone might say, that you are into this, but why are you doing this all of a sudden? You need to understand that if you are someone who has multiple interests, you just have multiple interests. So do not let it stop you from going into other things as well. It's all part of what makes you who you are. And there are people out there that would be interested in learning about what you are doing, or be ready to work with you for whatever you do. So that is one thing that you can keep in mind to us for. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Danielle. Please, any other question? Okay. All right. Okay. If there are no questions, then we'll move on to the next speaker. So Danielle, please, thank you very much for.
Thank you too.
God bless you so much. In fact, we all need to know the importance.
Priscilla, please wait. Hey, okay. Priscilla, wait. Priscilla.
Oh, don't worry.
Please, I want to ask a question.
Okay. You can ask Sarah.
You said?
You can ask
Danielle a question. I can ask her. Okay. In scenarios where she tried to sell ideas like digital contents to people, and then they are not willing to buy it, or they don't understand the value of those things, how does she go about it? How do you convince people that you have probably the best offer available? Or how do you get people who are not necessarily inclined to that line to accept what you're trying to do? Like probably those tiny consultations that she's talking about, like sitting someone down. Africa here, it's a bit.
I think the question is along the lines of how do you convince people that you have the digital product? You're convincing them to buy your product.
Okay, so is it with regards to architecture, or I should just answer it in general? Because I can do that. I can answer it in general, and it will just follow along all the lines of everything. Yes. Would that help?
Yes.
Okay, I think you should.
Yeah. So in general, when you are creating content, okay, you want your content to be the kind of content that is going to attract the kind of clients that you want. So that is why you need to be strategic. That's the first thing. When I was creating my digital products, I was creating content for people that wanted the digital products. So let's say you are selling a pen and people that don't go to school, you are trying to create content for people that don't go to school or don't see the essence of using a pen. I'm not saying it's only people that use a pen that go to school, but you get where I'm going. Your content should speak to the target audience that you want to reach. So that would be easier for you to get the kind of people that you want to get whatever offer or service that you have. When I wanted to launch my mobile editing and videography and all of those content creation digital products, the first thing I did was to create content sharing how you can do these things. So if someone is coming into my DMs, they are coming to learn about these things, or they are interested in these things, they are coming to learn about these things. It's not now that I'm coming to sell to them, no, because my content is already telling them that this is what you can do and this is how you can make it better. So if you're coming into my DMs, you are there to get whatever I have, or if you are checking out my office, you are there to get whatever I have. So it's mainly through your content. The content that you are posting is what is going to put across whatever you want. Now let me narrow it down for someone who is an architect. I follow a couple of architecture pages that do this too as well. There's this guy that he works from home, not works from home, but sort of he has his own firm and he's doing his own thing. So he shares his work process, he shares behind the scenes, he even shares like resources that he uses, like AI sites that he uses to achieve things. He even shares on-site work. He also shares day-to-day activities of him being an architect and some things that he does that helps him do whatever he's doing. And anytime he's done, he basically tells you that he has these things or products linked in his website or his bio that you can check out if you want to learn more of this. So your content should basically be telling people more about what you do and then be educational and helpful. So your content is doing the selling for you. You're not the one going into someone's DMs. No, I've never gone into someone's DMs to go and say, hi, do you want to buy this? That is not how social media works. No. Your content, what you are posting on your page is what people are watching, and then they come into your DMs to come and get anything from you, or they go to your website to go and get those products. So your content is going to do the selling for you. So what you put out there is what is going to attract the people that you want. So if you are going to be talking to architects, make sure you are using keywords that architects know of. Make sure you have those things in the words that you use, your captions, those terms, because that is when the algorithm picks on those keywords, those words, and then it pushes it to the people that want to know about stuff like that. So that is how you do it. And then make sure you have those products ready in case people want to learn more from you. You don't even need to have it all at a go. Just start building a community, start building that audience, and eventually when they want more from you, you will just know. Because when people start coming into your DMs and asking you, how can I do this? How can I learn? And please, can you help me do this? That is a need. So that means you can now create a product or a service or something to answer to that need. So your content is going to do the selling for you, basically. You're not going into anybody's DMs to do anything. Sharing what you know, sharing your work process is what is going to sell the work, going to sell the services for you, basically.
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome.
Thank you, Miss Danielle. Thank you very much. Thank you for the knowledge. Thank you.
Welcome.